Earlier tonight, we told you about the death of Neil Armstrong, the first man to walk on the moon.
Armstrong held a special place in the life of our own Pablo Pereira, and Pablo is here to tell us why. Pablo, you actually reached out.
Well, I did. You know, no doubt that Neil Armstrong was my hero growing up. So recently, when I came across this new program at my local library, it's called The California of the Past, a digital storytelling station. My decision on what to talk about was really quite easy. I wanted to share my story about first writing, then receiving a letter from Neil Armstrong only days before he became the first person to step foot on the moon.
I am California of the past. I am California of the past.
I started thinking about becoming an astronaut, and I sat down and I actually wrote Neil Armstrong a letter back in July or June of 1969, I believe. That's when the Apollo 11 mission was. And I'd like to share this letter with you. It said, "Dear NASA, my name is Don Pablo Pereira. I'm 10 years old. I would like to ask you a question. I know that you will have more flights than just the Apollo 11, and it costs billions of dollars to have a rocket built. My question is, I would like to know if I could be the first boy on the moon, say around Apollo 15. Please send a letter back soon. Even if I can't, I would like pictures and things sent to me." So I sent that letter off in early June 1969, and certainly never expected to hear from Neil Armstrong. I figured he had more important things to do, and as this old TV guide I have suggests, this was certainly a big topic back then. But just 2 weeks before he actually left for the moon, Neil Armstrong wrote me this personal letter. And it was short, and I knew it wasn't a form letter because he signed it right here. And he said, "Dear Don, thank you very much for your nice letter, which I received recently. I'm also pleased to hear from our young people, especially those with a keen interest in our activities like yourself. Kindest regards, Neil Armstrong, Commander Apollo 11. Well, this was obviously probably the highlight of my young life. And years later, when I was working at a TV station in Dallas, Buzz Aldrin, who happened to be the second man to actually walk on the moon, was on our TV show. And I had this letter in my file at work, and I had the actual envelope I got, and I got Buzz Aldrin to sign that envelope for me. So now, what I have is autographs of the first two people to ever walk on the moon. And these are probably my most prized possessions, and that's my story. Well, by the way, these digital storytelling stations can be found at many public libraries. You simply walk in without a script, they set up a camera, and you share any memory, anything you want to talk about, and then these stories actually become part of the State Historic Record archive for everybody to look at, you know, what, 500 years from now.
But few stories can compare to that one.
Well, that was pretty exciting, I have to say.
I'm holding a piece of history right here, Pablo. That is such a fabulous story. Thank you for sharing it with
Absolutely.
us.
I made this joke about how I should be wearing white gloves. Why is this not, you know, behind plexiglass or something like that?
I just knew you were going to ask me that question. You know, it's really kind of simple because here's the envelope, here's the letter, and I remember getting this letter and being so excited about opening it and pulling it out. It just, in a frame, I wouldn't get the same effect, so I like to keep it in here and every once in a while pull it out.
Literally be able to touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And this letter is a copy of the letter that you sent, correct?
Right, my dad made me Xerox a copy of it. Hey, but we've got more on this too. If you want to go to our website, I posted much more on this story and on Neil Armstrong on our website, MyFoxLA, including a photo gallery of Armstrong's trip to the moon, and of course that famous narration of the moon landing by anchor newsman Walter Cronkite that most of us will never forget. You remember when there he is, there's Walter right there, and you'll remember when he actually landed, Walter grabbed his glasses, you know, he wore glasses, and he just kind of pulled them off like this. So.
And
cool
Pablo,
stuff.
by the way, Susan and I only asked for the moon and the stars.
Yeah, that's usually what happens with you guys.
I love how you sign out on this letter. Your future spaceman, I hope.